Greetings and welcome back to my channel. I am Ken McCalla, the Jazz Vinyl Audiophile. I've been trying to finish my book, which is coming out on the Quarto imprint, I believe in April. The book's called Small Luxuries Vinyl. It's a slim edition, about 16,000 words, covering all aspects of collecting vinyl and turntables. Even though I told the publisher people don't really collect turntables per se, but it's kind of a buying guide both for records as well as turntables, from stratospherically priced to entry level. There's sections on cleaning, sections on where to buy records. And in doing the research for the book, I found record stores I didn't even know existed, online stuff. And it was fun. It was an incredible amount of work. And I've been running a lot of the interviews I've done with people on the YouTube channel. And you can best believe once the book is available, I will be selling it here. Maybe I'll do some readings, even though it's a little dry because I was trying to cover so much in 16,000 words. So I'll go into more detail about that when the thing is closer to being published. But I wanted to give you a sneak preview of a review I have coming out in Stereophile magazine shortly on 2 John Coltrane releases, the newly reissued Live at the Village Vanguard set, the complete 4-night set, which is really amazing, and the recently reissued John Coltrane Mono A Love Supreme. Now, even like today, my editor and I will be going back and forth about what constitutes the original Mono A Love Supreme, since most people can assume those tapes were lost in the fire, so they must be using safety. But my editor brought up the point today that after 1964, or maybe earlier than that, Rudy Van Gelder was not doing traditional mono. He was doing stereo folded down to mono, or 2-channel folded down to mono. So we're trying to ascertain that information at this very moment in time. Now, the press release says, remastered from the original analog tapes by Ryan K. Smith in Nashville. Before I wrote and started doing listening to the John Coltrane, the complete 1961 Village Vanguard recordings, which is 5 or 6 LPs, 4 nights, I went back and read earlier reviews, and it was funny to see the reviewers in 1961, calling it anti-jazz and just railing on Coltrane's and Dolphy's solos, with all the sort of over-the-top language you can imagine. Reviewers, listening to Stan Getz or maybe watching Mitch Miller or, Not Ready, or even Sonny Stitt or Lucky Thompson, all great players, not ready for what Coltrane was doing in 1961 in live performances. But when you really go and listen to those recordings, there are periods where Tyner and Coltrane, who were such incredible foils, it's amazing to really hear them over these 4 nights. They were really phenomenal, and they would have yielded really amazing things had they both lived. But what amazed me the most about this whole set was how traditional the rhythm section is. They're generally playing it kind of straight. While Coltrane and Dolphy are scorching and at times playing, bellowing, snorting, aggressive, there's nothing on the line of like a Sonny Murray or a really heavy Rashid Ali to accompany them, or Dave Burrell on piano. It's all very standard stuff that wouldn't have sounded out of place, because it wasn't on the earlier Coltrane releases on Atlantic. Just extremely energetic. There's no, Elvin never loses the time. It's never free. It's always swinging really hard. Tyner plays what you would, think of Tyner, those giant block chords and beautiful solos. Jimmy Garrison or Reggie Workman hold it down, but the rhythm section is very straight compared to what's going on in the front line. So I just thought that was fascinating. But it's a beautiful set. The artwork is a little questionable, as I'm showing some of it here. I'm just showing some of the photos of the artwork, but the material, all of this has been previously reissued in all these different places, such as on the original Live at the Village Vanguard, Impressions, the other Village Vanguard tapes, Trane's Modes from the original master tapes, the complete 1961 Village Vanguard recordings. But this is the first time it's all been put together in one place with contemporary mastering. It's just an incredible lineup of material. India, Chasing the Train, Impressions, Spiritual, Miles Mode, Naima, Brasilia, Greensleeves, India, Chasing the Train Again. You know, they played a similar set every night. On the final night, it's only India and Spiritual. And it's an amazing snapshot of where they were in 1961. But I'll read you a little bit from my review. Live recordings capture an artist's evolution in ways commercial recordings, typically compromises between artistic vision and producer demands, cannot. A month after the Village Vanguard performances, Coltrane recorded Ballads, which is an astounding thing to think. Its shimmering, sultry moods a stark contrast to the Vanguard's torrid explorations. Live marks the dividing line between Coltrane's past and future, a standard jazz quartet on the brink of galactic innovation. Africa Brass recorded during the same period, almost exactly a year after Coltrane's sound and Coltrane Plays the Blues, and that's where the rhythm section sounds similar because there's still a rhythm section from those groups. I think Coltrane has not quite pushed Elvin to develop his incredible rolling, assaultive, gorgeous, tumbling, full set triplet innovations. Almost exactly a year after Coltrane sounded, Coltrane Plays the Blues offered only the faintest glimpse of the revolution ahead. And then the mono, A Love Supreme. I've always thought of A Love Supreme in my sort of pop-oriented way as John Coltrane's Sgt. Pepper. It's perhaps his first major production, Giant Steps being a smaller but still major production as far as what they played. But A Love Supreme has a theme, it's a unified piece, it's an album of work. It's meant to be listened to from start to finish. It spawned a classic tune, a well-known, almost jazz standard, Resolution, which was covered by many more far-reaching jazz quartets. It's interesting to hear the mono soundstage. It's totally different. Train is out front, and Elvin is way in the back in mono. It's strange because in stereo, it spreads out differently. Obviously, it's more of a stereo presentation, but here, it sort of took me aback. You know, the reason there's a resurgence of interest in mono, particularly with jazz, particularly on early jazz recordings from the 60s, is because mono has a sense of drive, probably the same in rock and roll records. Mono has a real sense of drive. There's usually more driving bass. There's something about the singular image which has an incredible amount of force. You really hear it on the early Eddie Lockjaw Davis records, on the Coltrane mono records on Atlantic. It's a verifiable thing. You know, people were so caught up in stereo for what it was, but stereo really, depending on the recording and on the production, can rob a recording of its vital life force. It can really just go missing. And when you listen to this, that's what this has. It's got that punch. It's not quite as transparent as my original, but it has that same essence of punch and drive that you get in any good mono recording. Is it the last word? I'm not really sure. I think you'd have to hear it to really appreciate it. I wouldn't say that one is better than the other. Stereo not better than mono, or mono not better than stereo in this regard. But it is a totally different presentation that will make you rethink what you know about this classic, beautiful recording. I also compared the new mono to my UHQR version. And of course, as you might think, the UHQR in stereo is super defined, super clean, but I wrote the music more floats than it punches. And that's also true of my stereo version of A Love Supreme. It doesn't quite have the same visceral wallop as this new mono version, but this new mono version is not like listening to a real cranking blues guy, or, like a Johnny Griffin or something, or a Hank Mobley on mono, because the presentation and the thematic material is entirely different. Perhaps read the issue when it comes out. It will be online after it comes out, or go on Spotify and check out this new mono version yourself. And I would even say get a good pair of headphones and lock yourself in with the complete 7 LP Live at the Village Vanguard set from 1961. Because the Vanguard set really puts you in a certain place and time in American culture. That album really kind of signifies a breaking point in American culture, coming from the 50s, and all that meant, the horrible AM radio, since all the rock and roll guys went away, the hard bop of the year that was contained, civil rights movement, and it hints that's what's to come, the sense of revolution that would fill the streets in the 1960s, the Black Power movement, and Coltrane's own art, that it's like a comet that it just explodes. It's the beginning of all that, and you can really hear it on the 7 LP set, which is, I think, essential in some ways. Thanks for watching.